threat of disaster is never pleasant.
Welcome to the Casual Preppers podcast.
These safety measures are essential.
The only place for prepping, survival, and entertainment.
This will be your source of survival instructions and information. Every member of the family must be coached in the business of survival.
Here are your hosts, Cam and Kobe.
Man, we amped up.
2025.
We are amped up.
First one for this year, right? Or will it be?
Yes, this is the first one for, no.
For a casual prepper.
Yeah, well, I think we had one come out.
I don't know.
Man,
your schedule is probably going to come out in 2024.
Yeah.
Go backwards in time.
That's right. Well, welcome back to the show, Cam. It's been a little bit. We've been off for holidays and whatnot.
Been a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we got something sort of new going on this year. We want to keep it fresh. We want to keep it interesting. And so we kind of want to let you know what this entire year is going to look like on the podcast, because what we're doing is we're going to bring you basically these 4 really in-depth 12-episode series throughout the year.
Yeah.
And they're all going to kind of touch on a different aspect of preparedness. And this first series that you're going to get is called Back to Basics.
Yeah. I'm excited about it because I feel like these key elements are hard to talk about. They're kind of, dry, but to do them in a series gives me a good chance to look at my own supplies, because
for sure
we've gone so long into other aspects, you got to put some water into that too.
That's right. So this series basically is going to cover 12 really essential elements of preparedness, and this is really good for even, if you're a prepper that's been doing this for a long time. This is the beginning of the year. It's kind of a fresh start. Hey, let's restart and look at our preparedness from the basics.
Yeah.
Right? But it's also great if you're a new prepper, you're coming into this. This is a really good place to
I
start.
hope you're starting here, not how you
exactly
the very beginning of our podcast.
This is perfect because we're going to go through the basics. And episode 1 of this, Cam, which is really episode 226, what are we talking about?
Well, what better to talk about than water, right? You can't go very far, very long without it.
You cannot,
Today, that's our starting point is, and it should be the starting point for everybody that's getting into preparedness and prepping. You got to look at your water supply. So today, that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about uses, storage, filtering, procurement. You're gonna get wet. Listening
get wet with prepping, baby.
You're gonna get wet.
Also,
to this.
I forgot to mention, you're gonna get an episode every week now.
Yes,
they're gonna be slightly shorter episodes, but you're gonna get one every single week.
Yeah,
man.
I'm happy.
How exciting is that?
I'm excited for you guys.
Me too, yeah. Also, we will reveal the rest of the series kind of as we go. You know what I mean? We're not going to tell you right now. We're probably just going to go and we got some fun stuff though.
I think it's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah. I do have to tell you about BattleBox though. It is the monthly subscription box full of solid gear for adventure seekers, survivalists, outdoor enthusiasts, and casual preppers. Each month, BattleBox sends you the coolest selection of handpicked outdoor survival and everyday carry gear, all valued at far more than what you'd normally pay. You never know what's in the next box, but here's a sampling of what users received this month. This one's just coming out. The mosquito repellent tiny repeller by Flextail Gear.
What is that?
It's really cool. It's a little machine that gets mosquitoes away from you.
Pretty
rad. The Koala Tree duffel bag, both really awesome.
Koala Tree stuff's awesome.
I know. All this badassness starts at just $39.99 per month. They've shipped over 1 million boxes and won best subscription box of 2020. Our listeners get 15% off when you sign up at battlebox.com/casualpreppers.
Get it.
Get it done. All right, Cam. So we're talking about water, right?
Yes. So, I'm excited.
Yeah.
Like a new year, starting things over.
New year, new you.
Yes.
Yeah.
But go back to the basics.
Yeah.
Look over your stuff. I haven't done it in a while, and I started to the last few weeks. I'm like, get freak.
Yeah, I know.
I need to break it down. So, what better to start with than water? Because that's the most important part. You can't go very long.
You really can't.
3 weeks without food, but 3 days without water.
Yep.
So, if you've avoided it, all your other stuff's going to go to someone else because you're going to die. So
it's so true. So, and when we talk about water, a lot of people think we need to have water because there's going to be this long-term SHTF scenario. Yeah. And I'm going to be sipping on that sucker through the apocalypse. But there's actually some really very
water sucker,
very common events that happen frequently where water is super important to have stored, right?
Yeah.
And let's look at a few of those: natural disasters, earthquakes, hurricanes, tornadoes. These things can knock out municipal water supplies for days or weeks or longer, right? There might be pipes that burst and water treatment plants will go offline. And having stored water in these scenarios means you can actually drink, cook, and clean without relying on FEMA coming to bring you water or whatever it is, right? And it can also save you from having to line up at like an emergency water station or something like that, where you don't really want to do that, right? Another one is like a contamination event, which might be a chemical spill, algae blooms, industrial accidents, all that kind of stuff, where the water supplies become contaminated by whatever it is, the chemicals, the bacteria, and it is even maybe unsafe even after boiling, which is kind of creepy, which is super scary. So that way you have some stored water to drink and to bathe and to get through something like that. We've all heard of like the boil orders. Those happen all the time.
I know.
Even then, I think it's great to have water. You can use that instead of having to boil every single drop that you drink, right? We could even look at extended power outages. Long power outages can really affect water pressure. They can disable well pumps in homes that rely on those electric type systems. Even municipal systems can lose pressure needed to push water into homes. And this is where your stored water comes into play. Right? Yeah. So that's why it's just so important to have water. But how much do you really need? And that's where it kind of gets tricky, right?
I feel like there's like at points people like get too caught up in all the details of water and just don't get it.
I know. You're right.
It's like it really isn't that hard, but it's nice to hear some of these little minutia of storing water.
100%. So it's often recommended to plan for at least 1 gallon per person per day. And that's really easy to remember. And that's why I like this recommendation. And so for that, that's obviously for drinking. You need to stay hydrated. It's essential to maintain energy and body functions. We don't drink, we die, just like Cam mentioned, right?
True.
Also like basic hygiene, like washing your hands and your face and brushing your teeth. That's what that 1 gallon will do for you.
Just the same gallon.
Exactly.
You just drink it, spit it back in there.
Delicious.
To brush your teeth, wash your face.
Delicious. There are factors that might increase your water needs, though, depending on where you live. If you're in a hot and arid climate, you might have to double that because you're going to be sweating all the time and those types of things. Also, if you're going to have high activity levels, if you're going to be hiking, if there's going to be heavy labor, increased water loss through sweat and demand.
Someone going through labor.
100%.
Need a lot of water.
So pay close attention to this, especially if bugging out or hard physical labor might be required for survival in whatever situation it is. You have to pay attention to that. Also, your family size. Large families, you have to scale water storage to account for everyone, even your pets. So just be thinking about that. So when we look up, how much water do you need? CDC, FEMA, all of those say have 3 days worth on hand. So when it comes down to us for what we do, that's kind of our bare minimum of suggestion. Have 3 days, everybody in your family. This will get you through most emergencies.
Yeah. It's the first thing to go off shelves. Like any emergency, it's like, boom, water's gone.
Water is gone.
And then soda. And then potato chips.
So just start with soda. It's a good place to start.
Yeah.
So then we think about the drinking, but there's also hygiene and sanitation. We talked about that briefly, but you need to bathe. You got children, even if you have elderly family members, you have to maintain their health and comfort through these bad times. You're going to have to clean reusable items like utensils and dishes because, look, hygiene is so essential to stay healthy during any emergency, and especially a long-term SHTF. So disease can start to creep in when hygiene is overlooked.
Yeah.
So water is like the number one thing to keep hygienic, right? So you got to have water. Also, cooking and food preparation. A lot of the food that we're storing needs to be rehydrated. And so you got to have a ton of water to make this stuff. So you have to have that to eat. You also, boiling water for cooking grains and pasta and for hot beverages and all that type of stuff. Maybe you get some fresh produce or you get it from the garden. You want to wash that. So cooking is a big deal.
It's interesting too, like a lot of foods and stuff. It's like, you have to fill the pot at the very top for one thing of ramen. You're like, you don't need that much.
That's too much water. Exactly.
So don't follow directions. Just make sure you have something to cook with.
Yeah. Cleaning wounds. You need to have uncontaminated water. You can't use, ditch water or gutter water if you get cut.
No.
It's not a good idea.
No.
So,
irrigation is the key. to
exactly.
Yeah.
So sterile
wounds
water
and
is ideal, but even if it's boiled,
dilution is a solution.
yeah, that's
what
right.
they
You've
say.
said that before.
Yeah.
And then your pets. We talked about that. If you have doggies or kitties or whatever, you got to have water for them. They really don't take that much. I was looking this up, and I'm like,
Nor do my kids. Found out.
They don't drink hardly anything. They just get their water from the air.
I'm
somehow.
pretty sure they absorb it somehow because they never drink enough.
From the juice they spill, and it just
They're getting it from the fruits and the vegetables.
that's right. Yeah, because you buy raspberries, they're gone in like 2 hours.
Oh, man.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So that's how they're getting.
That's how they're
hydrated.
getting it.
A couple of times a week, they get all the raspberry intake, and then they're good. But like small dogs or cats, they really only need like a half to a gallon per week.
Oh,
That's like
a lot
nothing.
less than I thought.
I know. I was thinking when I hear my dog drinking, I'm like, sounds like you're drinking a gallon of water, but it really is only like this much.
And
Exactly.
it's all on the side of like the
Yeah.
cupboards and stuff.
Jeez
Jeez Louise.
It's true. And then larger dogs might be 2 gallons per week. So I'm like, that's really not that much.
That's not that much.
But you got to consider it.
Yeah. No, it's
Something
great.
you got to think about.
Yeah. So water storage basics. I think this is where people get a little bit nervous. And
Yeah.
I feel like they ask me all the time, and I don't really ever have a good answer for them because it's simpler than you would think. So as Kobe mentioned, we need to store, think of 1 gallon per person per day.
Yeah.
And not everyone drinks that amount, but it
true.
covers all those other things.
Mm-hmm.
So a general rule, 2 weeks supply minimum for each family member. So some simple math means my family of 5, 5 times 400 with the square root of 6 equals
Let me get out my Texas
70
Instruments here.
gallons. Yeah. So 5 people, 70 gallons. 1 month, that's going to be 100 and what? Yeah. Basically, I calculated out,
Okay.
making it more confusing because I was joking.
I see.
55 gallon drums, you need 3 of those.
For a month.
For a month. Because, it adds up super fast. And one of the worst things with water is just finding a place to store it.
it really
takes
is.
up so much space.
You're true.
You don't want it out in the garage,
Mm-hmm.
down in the basement. It takes up all the space. So, but just get it done.
Yeah.
2 weeks supply minimum for each family member.
Mhm.
That is doable, and
Yeah.
it doesn't take up a ton of space.
Right.
But shoot for a month. So short term, 1 to 3 months. Bottled water and store bought water is probably the easiest thing to do because
it's so
you're
easy.
going to the grocery store all the time. Seems like every other day for our family.
Yeah.
And if you just add like a few of those like small 1 gallon jugs or a case 24 of the small water bottles, that is so easy to do.
And those things are always on sale, man. Or even if you go to the dollar store, those things are always
The dollar
like
store has
nothing.
a ton, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, picking up those things and adding them to your cart each time you go to the grocery store or every other week, it adds up fast, and it's an easy way to store water. It's not the best containers, and they're they're really like easy to puncture and stuff like that, but it's getting started and it's easy for your first like 1 to 3 months of short-term storage. So midterm, like 6 to 12 month long water storage. Larger jugs, 5 gallon water containers, water bricks, cisterns.
I've got a couple of those 5 gallon like army type military containers. Those are great.
They're nice
like
because
them.
you can just like you store your water in them and you store them away, and they're easier to store because the shape of them.
Yeah.
And then you just forget about it.
Well, I
It's
love
really
it
nice.
too because if I do have to bug out, I have 2 of those that I can just
And they
grab.
got a handle. You
Yeah.
just like
throw them in the truck. Now I've got 10 gallons of water and we're
Yeah.
good to go.
that's the one thing with those dollar store ones. That
Yeah.
strap,
Oh,
like
yeah.
before you can get
Breaks.
in your car, it
Yeah,
snaps.
it's broken. Yeah.
But typically more organized water supply that you kind of leave it alone. Like
Yeah.
you have your water bottles and things that are more accessible up front, and then behind that you kind of start doing like larger jugs and things like that. Now for the long-term storage, and that's where I have 2 55 gallon drums on top of all of my other water storage. And there's also IBC totes, and they're the ones that carry the IBC root beer.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what they are.
I love IBC root beer.
No. And then water cisterns, like if you're building a house,
Oh, man.
that's the one thing I wish,
I had a cistern in the
because a
basement.
lot of people will just put those in
Yeah.
first thing because you can't get them in
I used
there
to
after
appraise
that.
houses, and I saw a couple houses where they were building the cisterns into the basement. Oh my gosh.
It makes you so jealous.
500 gallon cistern. I was like, oh, you are awesome.
So
This is
it'd be so
cool.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you are considering building, put that in your plans. But 55 gallon drums are available all the time. They're really not too expensive, and they're easy because They block sunlight.
Yeah.
You put tap water in them, and you can just leave them alone forever.
Sure.
So long term, what is safe? Now, these are rough numbers.
Yeah.
Public supply water, properly stored public supply water from, your tap and things like that, it has an indefinite shelf life.
Yeah.
It's already been treated. And most of the time, if left alone and stored properly, you don't have to add anything to it, that's why I'm like, it's super easy to just to add a bunch of water and then leave it alone.
Yep.
If you're really concerned about it, what you can do is treat with Clorox, and the recommendation is a teaspoon treats 5 gallons. It's easy enough.
There is like specific products for long-term water treatment, which I've used on my 55 gallons.
It's all on the back of the bottle.
Yep, super easy to use.
A few drops in there and you're good to go. And if you're a little bit concerned, a few years, maybe add a little bit of that to it if you don't want to there really isn't any reason to dump all that water.
No, but you could just dump it every year.
If you want to just
water.
make good and sure. Yep. And the other thing, and we'll talk about that, is it can always be filtered.
Yep.
It can always 100%. Be filtered, boiled, and all that stuff. Yep. So as long as you have it, it's great. The CDC recommends using household bleach only in small quantities, and only if boiling or bottled water is impractical. So it's not really a great thing to keep adding to your water.
Right.
Commercially packaged water is good for about 5 years. Home filled water should be changed annually, they say, but overall.
And that depends on what it's in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Private wells, springs, untested source, this usually needs to be purified. So, but still storing it, and so that it's available. But capped water, drinking water that is thoroughly disinfected can be stored indefinitely in these containers. However, the disinfectant will slowly go away. So the water should be replaced every 6 months.
Sure.
And this is usually like refilling containers. A lot of people discourage that, but
it's water, man. It's
water.
It's water.
You can do whatever you want with it.
Exactly.
Because you have it now.
Yeah.
So I would not, like if you're into storing it in your Sprite bottles and your juice jugs, do it, because that water can be used for anything.
Worst comes to worst, you can clean with it, or you boil everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then quick note on storage location and tips: cool, dark, dry. That's always the key for storing everything.
That's where I like to sleep, and it's where I like to keep my water.
It's where I like to keep my body.
Yes.
So. But it prevents algae and growth and things like that. Rotate water regularly. So for jugs and things like that, we usually, if we're using jugs and bottles, we'll write the date on there that we stored in there. And a lot of them right now I still have are 2015.
Exactly, yeah.
But I have it.
Yeah.
And then again, I just mentioned that you can store it into those juice containers and everything. It's not good because there is some sugar content that doesn't always get washed out. But again, you have the water to do whatever you want with. Another thing is don't store it directly on the cement floor or next to a cement wall, because those chemicals can leach into it.
It's possible.
So it's easy. Just put a few cardboard boxes. I have 1 billion around my house.
Yeah.
Come get some if you want.
Call up
But
Cam.
you just put a few down and then stack your water on it, and keep a distance between the cement wall and your water. It's just safer.
For sure.
And it's best to store on shelves. Just kind of keeps the bottom layer from getting compressed and leak and all of that stuff too. So, but yeah, that's why if you're really wanting to store a lot long term and leave it alone, water bricks are awesome. They're not cheap, but they're awesome. Heavy duty gallon jugs. I've had some pop open or break. So it's the longer term stuff you really want to put in.
The ones from the dollar stores, they're gonna break and leak.
Yeah,
just know. Yeah.
So and then cisterns, stainless steel is awesome if you can store in that. But anyways, that's a lot of little basics on getting your water stored. Just get it done. Whatever way, just start storing some water.
One cool thing about this next sponsor is that it kind of goes along with this, and that's Element, right? Because it is something that can be added to a water storage thing to make your water taste better, but to also hydrate you better.
Yeah.
As people want to be prepared and ready for anything, the last thing you need is something that will slow you down when you need to be ready the most. That's why we at Casual Preppers have teamed up with Element. It is a tasty electrolyte drink mix with everything you need and nothing that you don't. We think Element is perfect for bug out bags and EDC kits because it contains a science-backed electrolyte ratio, 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams of potassium, and 60 milligrams of magnesium. Casual Preppers listeners can get a free Element sample pack when you make any purchase through our exclusive Casual Preppers link. That is one packet of every flavor. They also offer no questions asked refunds on all orders, and you don't even have to send it back. This offer can be claimed by first-time and returning Element customers. So use our VIP Element link every time, and you're going to get this. And the link is drinklmnt.com/casualpreppers to get your order and your free sample pack with any purchase. That's drinkelement.com/casualpreppers.
That's perfect for this.
It's perfect, right? So let's talk about sourcing water in a crisis. And this is probably more like a longer term crisis. If the power goes out, do not go directly to a river and drink, okay? This is more of like a long term thing because there are natural sources out there where you can get water. So there's rivers, there's lakes, and there's ponds. And this is surface water. They're abundant in some areas, but they may contain contaminants. So you have to be careful there. You need
those in it.
Yeah. You have to filter it. You have to purify it before you use it. Streams and rivers are going to be better because it's flowing water, and that is typically safer than a stagnant pond that's full of algae.
Puddle.
Yeah, puddle out in your front, lawn or
Been
whatever
there all
it is.
year.
Yeah, been there all year. I go drink that right now. But so that the flowing water is better, by the way. Okay, rainwater. You can collect rain directly. You can use buckets, tarps, or get every cup you own and put it in the backyard to catch all the rain. That stuff you can just drink.
Yeah.
You can just drink it. It's delicious, right from the heavens.
Tastes like dust.
Tastes like dust, but that's fine because it builds character, okay? but avoid water collected from dirty surfaces. So don't suck the rainwater off your hood of your truck. You know what I mean? Where it pools there. Because it's like bird shit.
It's on the bed.
Yeah, the bed of the truck.
You squeegee it to the back and drink it.
It looks like chocolate milk. Doesn't taste that way, but pretty good. And then we got snow and ice. Obviously, you can melt this for water. Avoid eating it directly as it will lower your body temperature. But
that's what ice does.
That's what ice does, right? You're going to want to boil it, probably. In your house, you have some sources in there that are readily available. Your water heater typically holds 30 to 50 gallons unless you have an on-demand water system. It will not do that.
True.
But if you don't, you can use the drain at the bottom of the tank and drink away.
Yeah.
Have some.
Yeah.
It's great. The toilet tank. This is the water in the tank, not the bowl, dum-dums. Okay? It can be used if it's free of the chemical cleaners, right?
Up to 4 months.
Up to 4 months. You don't want that. So avoid it if it contains toilet tablets. It looks like punch. Not gonna be. Okay? You also have pipes. If the water's no longer flowing, there's probably some water in the pipes in the home.
Yeah, I've had the water shut off and you open a pipe down in the basement. It's like,
so that could be used. Outdoor spigots, the same kind of thing. And then your sprinklers. Suck on them.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, suck on them sprinklers.
Pull that out.
Got to have the water skills, boy. And then you can actually use a clean cloth or plastic sheeting to collect dew from the grass and plants in the early morning. That's right.
You could just drag a towel across it and then just
suck on the towel.
I'm getting my water.
Just walking around with a hand towel in your mouth all day, just
talking to your neighbors. How you guys holding up?
I'm staying hydrated. Just sucking on a hand towel.
It's like those kids that suck on their shirt.
I know,
and all that. You're just
exactly.
You guys need anything? I got an extra towel.
This is my underwear, but it's wet.
Just wring it out. It's pretty good.
Just wring it out. Brown stains, no big deal.
Just boil it.
I've already boiled that pair.
You're fine.
I've already boiled that pair.
The color's still there, but I promise you there's no remnants of poo in there.
So if to access water without power, if you have like a well water or something, you can get a manual pump or those hand crank systems. You can use gravity fed systems or siphoning to move water, and then rain water collection systems. Those are great, right?
Yeah.
You can get those set up. All different ways that you can collect water that you may have not saved.
Yeah, true. I was just thinking of that. Like, I saw a water tower in Ogden, and I was just like, do they even use those anymore? But really, a community with those is better
for sure.
than in the other.
Heck yeah.
So, water purification,
Yeah.
you need to have multiple ways to purify your water.
Big deal.
It's easy.
Big
It's all
deal.
available right now. You can buy filters, you can buy tablets, you can buy Clorox.
They'll let you buy anything.
Because water likes to grow a lot of gross stuff.
Yeah, it's delicious,
Amoebas,
but deadly.
cholera, giardia,
Ugh.
leptospirosis, cryptosporidium, typhoid, E.
Cryptocurrency.
coli, and then, you got fluoride in there anyway,
Yeah.
contaminant.
Ethereum, I think.
Yeah. Yep. So, knowing the basics to cleaning water is extremely important because
I agree.
even though you have your storage, you're going to probably wanting to add to that storage even after an event, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Methods of water purification: boiling, most effective, easiest to do. The only downside is it requires heat in form of some fuel source.
Yep.
So, chemical treatment. These are easy to get. Like, I can't recommend enough having these on hand. A lot of people are like, hey, water's good. Comes from, it's treated with fluoride and chlorine.
God gave me the water. I'm going to drink the water.
Yeah. Make sure you got some chemicals to add to your food, to your water storage, and to have for long term.
They'll taste disgusting, but
They do taste
drink
disgusting. Yeah. It's always a little disturbing to think you just throw a little teeny tablet in a bottle full of puddle water and you're good, but it can be done.
For sure.
Filtration devices. Obviously, you're dumb if you don't have a Sawyer Mini
Get
or
one.
Life Straw or Berkey filter.
Go for the Sawyer Mini.
Seriously, 100,000 gallons. I can't believe how many people don't know
I know.
how many gallons you can get out of that filter.
They're like, I like a Life Straw. Well, you get 1,000 gallons out of that.
Yeah, and it plugs up on the first puddle you try and suck. Trust me.
I mean, they're fine. I have a Life Straw too.
I have several of them.
Yeah.
But I like the Sawyer Mini, and it'll go to it'll attach to the top of a regular water bottle, which is really super cool. But yeah, these having tablets and filtration devices are super important. Other things you can use if you'd like to, UV light systems like pens and other systems for smaller water amounts can, kill bacteria and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Do it yourself. I mean, if you want to be crazy and do sand, charcoal, and fabric,
Don't do it.
It's the worst thing ever.
It's too
I
cheap.
tried to do it, and you don't even know if it's working.
Look, it's cheap. Just go get it.
It just tastes like charcoal.
Yeah.
So when to filter versus purify? Filter is removing all those, the big chunks and floaties and all that other garbage. So if you're like stagnant water, ponds and lakes, you really probably want to filter first, and then purify.
I agree.
It's just you don't know, after like an earthquake or a storm, hurricane, you're gonna want to filter because you're gonna have floating crap all over in there.
Yeah, exactly.
And typically water that smells and looks weird, filter it first.
Mm-hmm.
And then purify it. And this is killing and neutralizing bacteria, protozoa, and viruses. The like stagnant water and stuff like that that looks clear doesn't mean it's clear. It doesn't mean it's safe. So purifying it by all those forms that we talked about, like filter it, then purify it with Clorox or the tablets and things like that, is super important. And I would do the same for medical use. If you're irrigating wounds, don't just, take a cup out of the pond and be like, just wash it out.
Yeah.
But anyways, so
I like that.
pretty awesome.
Very cool. You know what else is very cool? Mad Gear Co.
Mad.
Yeah, they are redefining preparedness with their contingency planner. It's a must-have tool for anyone serious about being ready. Whether it's a hurricane, power outage, wildfire, or unexpected emergency, this planner is built to help you organize every detail of your plan. This isn't just a notebook. It's a durable, step-by-step guide for organizing your emergency plans. And you know how much I love an emergency plan,
need it.
Cam. Yep. From food storage and water supplies to communication strategies and evacuation routes, it ensures nothing is overlooked. Proudly 100% made in America, the Contingency Planner features tough, weather-resistant, right-in-the-rain paper that stands up to water, dirt, and the elements. And with Mad Gear Co. being family and veteran-owned, you're supporting American craftsmanship and values. Be ready for whatever comes your way. Visit madgear.shop to grab your contingency planner today. Mad Gear Co., redefining preparedness for when SHTF. Use our code Casual Preppers, you're going to get 10% off your order.
Man, that was awesome. Perfect time to get it right now, too,
Yes.
because we're going to be going through all of these things.
This is a perfect time. Go get your Mad Gear Co. planner. Use our code Casual Preppers, and you can take notes as you listen to this whole thing. It's going to be pretty cool. So, look, I want to talk about a few mistakes to avoid here. And Cam talked about the rotating water thing. It's not completely necessary, as he said, but
because it's a pain.
It's a pain. If you store it correctly at the beginning, this should not be a problem. But if you didn't and you're worried about it, go switch it out every 12 months. You know, they say 6 to 12 months, but I would just do it every 12 months.
I would do a year or two.
Don't use the wrong containers. Like Cam said, those milk jugs, they degrade, they leak. Opt for those food grade plastic, stainless steel, or glass containers. Those are always better for long term. Don't forget about your pets, babies, or elderly. Because look, infants,
all
they
in
need
the same category.
They're all this. I put them all in the same thing. Because babies, you have that formula. You know, you need to have that clean, potable water all the time. Elderly, they're always taking weird medications that make them like dry mouth, and they
drink too much water because they feel like they're all dried out. And
then your pets, you just forget about them sometimes. Also, don't rely on one method for purification. We're huge on Sawyer Mini. But that can't be your only way. You got to have everything. So also train your family members how to purify water. Let them know how to use these filters, these tablets. If you have UV pens or whatever it is, practice boiling. You let your kids know how to boil because it's very, very important. And also have a plan, like a water plan that's part of your emergency plan. And I suggest getting the book, The Prepper's Water Survival Guide. It's really great to have around because all this really, like Cam said, this minutia of water, it's a pain in the ass. But if you have something like The Prepper's Water Survival Guide, it's something that you can always go back to and refer to at any time.
Yeah, if you're just like a little less confident about whether this will work or not. You've got that book.
Exactly.
It's a great idea.
I agree.
So, I mean, we've gone over all the essentials of water, right? Hopefully, you know how to store it, source it, purify it.
Yeah.
Build a redundancy, multiple options for storage, sourcing, and purification. Plan for 2 weeks. I mean, that is an easy goal for everyone to meet. 30 days is better, and it really doesn't take a lot more to do that. But get your 2 weeks for your family.
But if you don't have anything, go for 3 days. Look,
seriously,
get something.
Yeah. Water's going to go the fastest, and it's going to be the biggest problem.
3 days is nothing, man. Like for $10, you can have that figured out.
Yeah.
You know?
So, challenge for you this week. Do a water check.
Yeah, do it.
See how much water you have. Is it enough? Do you have enough for your family? How long is it going to last you? How long has it been there? Like, it's easy. Just go do it right now.
Yeah, take 5 minutes and do
Pause this, go check, come on back.
Absolutely, do
it. But I like water. It's essential. It's the most important part of your plan on top of everything else. Like, do this, and you're probably better off than most.
I agree. Yeah. But today's podcast is brought to you by TacPack. Did you know that? It's the only tactical subscription box. I know. Like the OGs.
The essential.
Yeah. With useful professional grade stuff inside, use our code Casual Preppers. Get a free $70 machine-made part from Next Level Armament. Go get TacPack. Do it. Yes. All right, guys, that is our first episode of the Back to the Basics series. We got 11 more.
Yeah.
We're really excited about it. Next week, we're going to talk about, you guessed it, food. Yeah, we got to eat. You got water. You got food. So make sure to check us out. Check that episode out. Make sure to go follow us on all the places. Instagram, Facebook, X. We're going hard on X right now because it's pretty fun over there. Elon's a good guy most of the time. And so go follow us and go check out our other podcasts. This podcast is a secret because we're doing lots of cool stuff over there as well.
Yes.
And also, stay survived.
Please.